Champ Select once again. It's going to be Renekton as the first pick, Gnar as the answer, Kanavi grabbing himself the Udyr this time around. Zoom looking pretty pleased with the fact that he's got a comfortable matchup. Xiaopeng, does he go for the Graves? Do we just have the opposite side of the same matchup, or will he change it up? Things like the Olaf are available. Xiaopeng going to go with the Sejuani, so a bit of a different style. It's something we have seen from him before, but certainly not something that is that prevalent within the LPL. It's one of Xiaopeng's most played, though.
Yeah, Xiaopeng's already pulled it out 3 times, so, and he specifically pulled it out in this matchup. I really like it comboing with the Camille, and now we have it once again. It's something we've been seeing more of. We've been seeing more mid lane Renekton in the LPL. Twyla's actually played it once already, so this won't be the first time Twyla's pulling it out. And
so,
go on, Munchables.
I want to quickly talk about this because me and Dagda were casting the game where Twyla first pulled out this Renekton mid. This is the Zilean player. This is the Cassiopeia player that only plays control mages and was having a terrible time of it on these control mages. And then he pulled out this Renekton, and it was like easily the best performance he had of the split. He looked amazing on the Renekton, so keep your eyes on that pick because he's going to pop off.
The thing I love about it is it reminds me a lot of 2019 summer split where Sejuani was meta and we had Irelia in the meta. Camille was there, Renekton was there, Akali was there, and it was all about putting Sejuani with 2 melee soul laners who can get the passive proc off faster, and it's just such a strong early and late game 2v2. So I expect to see a lot of action coming out early, and then especially the level 6 mark around the top half of the map for TT.
Another great Jhin opportunity here for JDG if they want to opt into that. Things like the Sivir also available, but there are a lot of AD carry bans here. And it looks like JDG just going to decide to go for Rell for now. But with 5 AD carries already taken off the board, TT, we'll see where they go with this one as well. They've got to lock in both bot laners.
The thing about TTs, they've been more willing to pull out weird picks, right? We saw SamD just blind pick Lucian in their last series twice in a row. He's played the Vayne, he's played the Misfortune. He's just able to pick up anything. I feel like if you even want to go for a scaling AD carry here that just plays from range, something like the Aphelios, it wouldn't be too bad.
I want to see the Swain.
Oh, that could be something. JDG doesn't have a great way of closing distance right now, and I'd like to see TT take advantage of that. For the side of JDG, I think maybe the same would be fine if you want to pick the Aphelios, or maybe even bringing out the Vayne, depending on what TT picked for Loken, because you do have a lot of frontliners on the side of TT.
Oh, is it going to be locked? I'm not going to talk about it until it is. Okay, it's going to be Xayah. Never mind. And it would have been great if we got to see the Draven, but it's not going to happen.
I think this fits their comp a lot better as well, where we were talking about Aphelios for them before, but Xayah even better. You leave her on the island. She's very safe, especially from dives later on. And there is the Vayne pick that I wanted to see, Munchables. I think Loken had a very standout performance on it already this split. It's pretty decent against the champions that TT has picked up. The only real threat in my mind is that Camille getting on top of him later on, but you do have the peel coming out from the Udyr and the Rell, so once again, we have a game where for JDG, it's about setting up your AD carry to succeed, but TT going in the complete opposite direction. It's all about your solo lanes and setting them up for success.
Big yawn there for Twyla. He's had to get up early this morning to play on the stage. He's started to warm into it though, you know. 1 throw done, 1 more to go. So hopefully he can have a coffee before the game actually starts. We're going to head into game number 2 here. And TT starting off as they mean to go on. But JDG, I'm hoping for a little bit better of an early game here. I'm hoping for them to hold their own a bit more so that they don't have to just win through late game miraculous team fights and shenanigans, and maybe can win through their own setup and their own tempo.
I actually expect it to go a bit of the same with how these comps panned out, right? Where we have Renekton in the mid lane, so sure, Syndra has range early on, but once we hit that level 3 mark, especially with the Sejuani hovering, TT should be the team that has more pressure, and we should see Yagao having to respect that and play back under his turret. For bot lane, right, we have Galio coming out, very good at getting prio in that lane, and then Vayne on the opposite side. And then Camille against Gnar has always been a decent matchup for Camille, especially when paired with a ganking jungler. So this should very much once again be a TT-centric early game. The thing about TT's comp is it has much better scaling this time around. So they should be able to transition, if they get that lead, hopefully into a win.
Yeah, the only downside when it comes to scaling from TT is they have very little magic damage. With an AD carrying there, like Galio and Sejuani are going to bring a little bit of magic damage to the pot, but can we just take a second to appreciate that the Rell spam is so weird that she just like shrinks in size and just like zaps back and forth in the air.
You know,
I've
never noticed that. That is extreme. I don't know. Something about it just very unpleasing to watch.
Yeah, it's like Uncanny Valley almost, except not at all. But you know, we'll move on from that one. But yeah, super weird. Yagao gonna ruin the fun for everyone as he drops a Q, and that's an angry minion in response right there from Sam D. He's not happy that Yagao would come and ruin the fun.
Ooh, Munchables, we have the Omni Stone Camille coming out.
Yeah. The lethal tempo to do the level 1 trade. I like it.
And for a reminder of anyone who doesn't really, know or keep track of Omni Stone because it is such a niche rune, the way I've always viewed it is it's very much a win more rune. You typically pick it in laning phases that you, again, are expected to win or want a heavy trade because you can cycle through runes much faster and, again, get another offensive rune, get off more damage. You proc the grasp, a couple seconds later, get that electrocute, a couple seconds later, get a conqueror. So it's very good in these matchups where you're looking for heavy trading. It's just a bit too wild for pro play.
Yeah, it's the way I like to look at it to play devil's advocate is it's the rune that's completely garbage. And players shouldn't play it. But there we go. That's two different perspectives on the rune. TT losing out at 2v2 here, but it was, 2 summoners for 2 summoners at the end of the day, so fairly even. Sam D's hit level 2, as has Teen, and it means that JDG have to respect it and back away.
And we do see this once again, right? We see Prio in bot lane, Prio in top side. We expected Twyla to get pushed in early on, but around that level 3 mark, Twyla should be able to start coming back in this matchup. The one shining light for JDG is that, of course, Udyr is going to completely out-clear the Sejuani, so maybe he can look to set up a gank topside, because it doesn't look like...
Oh, huge Blade Caller onto Loken from Sam D. The flash for the auto, and the Ignite finishes it off! Teen was hyped as the rookie to watch by Kelsey, and he's stepping up with the Ignite kill here. Yagao now getting ganked in the mid lane. The stun chain is so obnoxious, and Xiaopeng gets on TT off to a flying start once more.
And it's all telegraph Munchables, even Kanavi going towards that top side.
Yeah, Kanavi wants to answer. Chelizi will get the hook shot away, though. He's fine. He's playing the Camille. He's ungankable.
And looking quite well.
Oh, wait, hang on.
TT are cheesing.
Oh, no. Kanavi, this isn't your Scuttle Crab. Look at the stun chain that could come through. No, the Scuttle escaped. That's so sad. Xiaopeng gets it as well. Everything is going wrong for JDG.
Yeah, some expected things. We highlighted the level 3 coming out from TT around their soul laners. Great play around that mid lane to punish Yagao. Some unexpected things coming out, like the 2v2 in bot lane. We knew that TT and Sam D would have pressure, but we didn't expect Loken and LvMao to opt into the trade. And it's just like game 1, Munchables. TT are going to have the stronger early game, not only with the composition they drafted, but obviously just superior play, and again, kind of proving LvMao wrong from his interview before.
And, like, we have to remember, this is a Vayne. Vayne is not good in the early 2v2s. Vayne is not the kind of champion that you pick for lane dominance, just the kind of champion you pick to scale and win out in the mid-game fights, whereas Sam D is quite happily winning these fights on the Xayah. And, we've got our own. We've got a gank Kanavi trying to get under the tower. But this isn't happening, or is it? I guess Yagao's here too. They really want to force this one in the bot side. The root comes down onto LvMao. He's going to die to the tower here. This is going to be traded. And now Twyla's arrived. He wants Kanavi, who's completely out of mana here. Stun available still. It's Chelizi. We're looking towards the top lane for some reason while the fight continues on the bottom side of the map. Twyla's in trouble. Yagao dishing out some damage. He's not level 6, though. So Twyla walks away.
Yeah, Twyla trying to find something in return. Xiaopeng was coming off a reset, so he wasn't exactly able to follow up. So JDG are able to find something on the map back, but at the same time, we did see TT pick up more kills as well. So for now...
It was 2 for 2.
Yeah, it was 2 for 2. The one shining light for JDG is, as we see here, the wave is bouncing back for Loken, so he's not going to fall behind in terms of CS. TT, to even that out, are sending Sam D to pick up the mid wave, so he doesn't himself fall behind.
Yeah, he'll be okay. He'll be able to just clear this one out and and get himself back down towards the bottom side of the map here. And this is one of the nice things about Xayah, especially with how good Essence Reaver is. We were talking more about Essence Reaver earlier on, how great of an item it is right now. Xayah is very much an Essence Reaver enjoyer. I can speak from experience that, man, when you get that sheen, the damage you do to the minion wave, the damage that you do in a burst combo is real nice.
Exactly. So TT are going to be able to start snowballing this game forward. They have so many advantages in a lot of different places. The only place they aren't exactly winning is mid. We do see that Twyla's a bit of a CS disadvantage, but at the same time, Twyla should still be able to get pressure on his own, and we do expect to see TT going back to playing around that mid lane. So all of Xiaopeng's camps are up on top side. We see his red buff coming up soon. I want to see a clear up towards top side and start looking to gank the soul lanes. With the wave pushing back into Zoom after this, it probably will be around that mid lane.
Chelizi's going to be able to catch the wave here. I'm going to be looking towards that mid lane. You mentioned how we do have some of the players in this game that are most likely to focus in towards the mid lane, and with this Renekton Sejuani combo, as well as Udyr and Syndra, that's a pretty potent combo in of itself. Kanavi is caught again everywhere he goes. The whole of TT follows this game. Hextech ultimatum to make sure that there is no running. He got the stun, but he did not get the run. The job was not done.
And the thing I love about it as well is Chelizi is also not going to lose anything in the top side. He got off a nice reset. TP's mid instantly is going to be able to get up there in time and not lose out on anything. So TT continuing to push their advantage forward, and ooh, we're going to see a potential dive.
Bit of revenge for what happened earlier on. Loken is just evaporated. As Xiaopeng is already level 6, just stuns him up, takes him down. LvMao now underneath the tower. Teeen not quite tanking just yet. Featherstorm comes on through, but LvMao managing to dodge the blade caller here. Taunt comes in. LvMao still surviving under the tower because they're just like, oh wait, Kanavi's back. Let's kill him again. Now onto LvMao they go, but he's got a shield for himself. He's trying to survive as long as he can. The shots come through. Wait, how did the turret reset there? How did they take no turret shots? It's beautiful from TT.
Great play coming out from them. Teeen does go down. It looks like Teeen was trying to lock both Kanavi and LvMao down with his taunt. Sadly, he just skimps out and misses the CC onto LvMao. So they do have to invest a bit more time and a bit more resources, so he does go down, but still, massive gold swing for them. And the thing is, it goes back to a point we made before. The great thing about TT's comp, I love this time, there's not only so much setup, but it does better early on, and it still scales. You have the Xayah, you have the Camille, you have options to play 1-3-1, you can go for the 1-4, you can opt into the 5v5. This comp is very diverse and has a lot of different options on how to play out the game.
Oh, I feel so bad for Zoom right now. Let's take another look at this absolutely immaculate dive from TT.
Yeah, the ultimate comes out from Xiaopeng after Teeen finds a great taunt. They then try to go in. Xiaopeng is the one pulling aggro, but with no real cooldowns available for TT after their initial kill, they aren't able to just burst him out right away. Again, they're trading aggro pretty well. We do see Teeen is the one who has it now. He did miss out on the taunt onto LvMao, but in the end, they are still able to get in and finish him off. We are going to see now Twyla actually was the one who held aggro, so it never switched back to any of the other members.
And that they got out just as the aggro was dropping. JDG, though, with a tempo play, managed to grab themselves. Oh, no, he's stolen. They can't get anything. Xiaopeng grabs himself the Herald, and now in comes Galio. Welcome to gold leads. You can't win this one, JDG. Or can they? Turning this one around, actually. The health bars are fairly low. They just don't have the damage to finish anyone off. Now the re-engage. Twyla trying to get in Teeen. Maybe looking to get over the wall here. Is Twyla just going to be chased away? TT get themselves a Herald. They lose no one. They don't need any kills. They're so far ahead.
They're doing it, Munchables. TT are officially living rent-free in JDG's heads. They get off the steal. JDG just not able to react in any way. And I don't know how they're the ones living rent-free in JDG's head when TT were the ones who threw the last game. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but great play coming out. And it's just hard not to praise them with how they played this game. I really like the Omni Stone Camille coming out. Again, it is a bit more niche. I agree with your point earlier. I actually don't think it's that viable in pro play, but if you do want to look for an early advantage, it's pretty good. Chelizi has fallen a bit behind because of the cross-map plays he's been making, but those cross-map plays, the leadership from Xiaopeng, how well Samdi and Teeen have been doing in the 2v2, it's just equaled out to where even the minor advantages JDG can find don't really matter.
All right, towards the bottom side, Teeen was posturing like he wanted to fight. They're just going to clear the wave for now. And I hate to say it, Lyric, but TT with a gold lead, it makes me uncomfortable. We've seen why. We talked about it all through last game. I feel like game 1 was foreshadowing for what's going to happen here. Maybe I'm calling it too early. JDG going to get dived again. They're just going to try and bully out Loken. Look at the level deficit. He's 2 levels down. He's going to lose his turret now, but they're going to be able to wait a little bit and get a couple more minions dying to that turret before the tower plates are taken. And they can even keep shoving this one. Zooms up on the top side. Does have the TP available, but ultimately, Drake is going to be started here. They should get a second charge from the Herald, although I think Loken's able to catch that one.
Yeah, and
TT, they could just roam around the map and clean up gold.
Exactly, and to foreshadow going forward, right? Because we're setting expectation. We have to talk about it. Can TT throw this game? Of course, it's possible. But the thing I like much more about this game is the fact that despite that their comp is very low on magic damage, it feels like JDG's comp will eventually become a one-threat composition, right? I don't think Syndra will have the damage to take out any member of the side of TT because Sam D has the ultimate to, try to play around Yagao's ultimate himself. Every other member is just too beefy for Yagao to take down. So if you can Hextech Ultimatum on top of Loken and just put all of your burst onto him, I feel like TT even come out ahead in team fights. Not to mention that we've already hit on, hey, in side lanes they'll be more potent. We know Camille will outscale the Gnar, and we know that Syndra doesn't want to sit in a side lane against Renekton either. So options is the name of the game for TT.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. Jordan Lyric Corby says that this is unthrowable by TT. There's no way. They scale better, they skirmish better, they team fight better. This is the perfect League of Legends composition as far as he's concerned. Maybe misquoting slightly there, but we'll roll with it. So we'll see if TT have something to say about that, because they've lost unlosable games before. In fact, they've literally done it today. Let's see, though. JDG want to contest their blue buff. But you know what? They might just have done it. Xiaopeng doesn't want to let it happen. Yagao takes it into his own hands. This one will not be lost.
Yep, Yagao not going to take any risks after the Rift Herald shenanigans earlier on. We already see the 1-3-1 coming out from the side of TT. Twyla is already hovering towards the mid lane though, so it does look like they're going to try to set up vision and look for those pickoffs in transition when it comes to JDG in their own sides of the jungle. The one pressure point JDG has right now is that since Zoom has been on an island, he has gotten a bit of a lead for himself, so at least JDG don't have to worry about a pressure point from TT in the top lane yet.
Not just yet, at very least. We'll see how it develops though. So 9-3 on the scoreboard. It's feeling real good for TT. Over on the side of JDG, you do have Loken building up on this Vayne. We've seen Loken's Vayne before. We talked about it in Champ Select. This is something that he's played a couple of times so far. In fact, 3 times this split. And it has looked like a good pick. But here's the thing. When you're playing something like the Vayne, it struggles in the early game. You need a couple of items before you really come online. And TT have well and truly acknowledged that fact. And they have just dived him over and over again. And when you can just brute force that, as you say, the kind of one threat on this team from JDG, it becomes real difficult for Loken to exist in the game at all. And now Zoom, the one that was doing so well in this game, he's going to get a bit of the Loken treatment as the dive comes on through from TT. They even slam the hero's entrance from Teen just as a little bit of a parting gift. And in the meantime, Sam D sweeping up towers in the mid lane. I'm not going to lie, Lyric. This is feeling kind of over. I don't know what JDG can do to get back in the game. Apparently, it's an engage. LvMao goes in, and they're, as if to prove me wrong, they're going to find a couple of picks. Twyla goes in to buy some time. Teen re-engages once more. But it's going to be 2 kills going the way of JDG here as Xiaopeng looks for a Scuttle Crab as a bit of a consolation prize.
And overall, I do feel like this favored JDG, even maybe before the kills. The fact that they're funneling, ooh, TT.
Oh, does it though? Hang on, another kill for JDG. Maybe TT have overextended for this one. Sam D is here. He's got all of the gold, and the aggressive Featherstorm goes in, but he's going to be trying to do enough damage. He's taken down in the end. Oh my goodness, what a fight. Chelizi and Zoom 1v1, and Zoom wants a bit of vengeance for the dive that just happened. The boulder will come on through, and the double kill for the top laner. JDG turn the fight on its head.
And the one big benefactor of all of this is the man not even on our screen. Loken has been in the bot lane for the past 4 minutes, getting the gold, being left alone. And if we were going to talk about JDG's win condition, even before all these fights happened, I was going to say, chill out, scale up, and just funnel everything onto Loken. Luckily, they've been able to do that since TT have been throwing everything at the opposite side of the map. And hey, we've now gotten back into the game for the side of JDG because TT just funneled one member at a time into the comp against JDG. Really nice flash coming out of Loken. Immediately pops the ultimate as well as the E afterwards to guarantee the stun. They do take down 2 members here. And then, you know, TT, they're feeling themselves a bit. They have a bit of mojo. They do have 3 members still up on the table. Chelizi already wrapping around. But Xiaopeng is extremely low. He goes in, but that doesn't matter because LvMao is dead, Munchables.
Every single time we do a replay, you just know it's going to be another fight by the time we come out of it. You can just feel it. TT managed to get themselves a pick, and they'll be able to get themselves a 3rd Drake off the back of it as well. But I want to quickly shout out Zoom here. He has been consistently the standout player on JDG this split. And the whole play started with TT setting their sights onto Zoom. They were like 5,000 gold ahead, and they were like, all right, let's slam our wallets at Zoom. Let's dive him in the top lane. And somehow Zoom comes out ahead in that situation. He went from 0-0-0 to now 2-1-0. This guy, he's just a monster in the top lane.
Yeah, he's really taken advantage of all the pressure they were putting on Loken early on, waited for a point where he can be a strong force to be reckoned with, and then he started looking for fights. The thing is, TT, despite only a 2k gold lead, I still think are squarely in the lead, not only because of the Drakes or now them getting Herald again. It's all those options we talked about earlier with how they play, with how they can play the game. The thing for TT, though, is we know they are not masters of execution. So if they do just go back to what they did, run in one at a time, oh, Yagao.
Yagao knocked up as well, wins a war, and the Ignite come through. It's another kill for Teeen. Kanavi wants to answers on that Udyr, so pretty tanky. Chelizi will be stunned up. Look at this, the Phoenix stands. What, Chelizi, why are you going back in, my friend? He's burning down, and the chase from Kanavi. Here comes Xiaopeng. It was all a cheeky little bait. LvMao goes back in. They don't have a lot of damage, but they got just about enough. The aura nerf wasn't enough as it takes down Team. Chelizi back into the fray once more. LvMao gets the stun off, and in comes the bear for a 2nd kill. Now chasing down the bear versus the boar. In fact, on this skin, it's bear on bear action. Kanavi, no mana to work with. Safe for Xiaopeng. It's auto attacks only, and they give it out as a draw.
Well, I'm glad, you know, bears are not killing their own kind today, Munchables. This game has just been back and forth. It's been awesome. We also saw 1v1s in both other lanes in the map as well. It was Sam D up against Loken in the mid lane. Nothing happened. It was Zoom actually fighting Twyla in the bottom side. So just a ton of action going on our screens. We do see now the Frostfire Gauntlet coming out from Sejuani, but we're going to get a replay of what happened. TT using their global pressure. They do bring in Teeen. They're able to take down Yagao right away. But Chelizi got pretty low. They try to go for the re-engage, and then here's where you initially mentioned, why does Chelizi go back in with this E? It felt a bit unnecessary. He takes even more damage that he didn't need to take. Kanavi also has red buff, so Chelizi was burning down a bit. Xiaopeng eventually gets here, and Teeen is able to buy a bit of time, but he also goes down in the end. Chelizi gets his passive shield back up, feels comfortable to E back in onto LvMao, gets him pretty much close to dying. Xiaopeng finished it off, and then that was the end of the play.
Imagine if you just had Grasp instead of Omnistone, you'd have enough health to make those plays. Teeen taking a lot of damage as the fight kicks off once more. Magnet Storm in, but Loken getting chased down here. He's on the Vayne. He's got to be the carry. LvMao flashes out, but he's stunned up. Will be finished off by Sam D. That's the 7th kill of the game for Xayah, who is just tearing through health bars. Kanavi, though, is going to run on it. Teeen is there to try and protect the AD carry. Sam D, though, is going to go down. JDG finding themselves a window. Loken still going strong, still firing away on the backline. In comes Yagao, gets the stun across the team as well, but Twilight is onto the backline. Zoom managing to lock them up. Xiaopeng forced to flash away. JDG winning out these skirmishes and getting back into the game.
And this is what we were talking about, Munchables, when we said TT can't be known as execution masters. I think JDG started that one off well, because TT started to back off because there was no world where they could fathom that JDG was going to engage in a 4v5 scenario. So they catch TT off guard, but after that, we see for some reason TT funnel in on killing Zoom, while Loken and Yagao are both in auto range of every member of TT.
Yeah. It's what we like to call suboptimal gameplay. And it happens occasionally here in the LPL. I'll be the first to admit it. Here we go. He runs, he stuns, and he dodges the blade caller.
Yeah, and you could see that Twyla and Xiaopeng had both already backed off because, again, you don't expect the team to engage on you 4v5, so they get some initial picks early on. But look here, everyone turns to Zoom as Loken and Yagao are pivoting ahead. Only Twyla was the one to think, hey, let's turn onto Yagao, let's turn onto Loken. We even saw that Chelizi used his E to go in the direction of Zoom instead of just funneling onto Yagao or Loken.
Oh, God. How is the gold only 1,000 apart? Lyric. It was all going so well. 30 seconds until Drake, though. This would be Soul for TT, and they know it. They want to force this fight. First pick goes down onto LvMao, and this is looking real good for TT. This is their opportunity. But Zoom with the Mega Gnar doesn't find stuns, but he pulls everyone into the fight. In goes Chelizi, but Loken still surviving, still free-firing. He's collapsed on by everyone, but he just won't die. Finally falls, but he bought so much time for the squad. And once again, JDG find themselves yet another fight. Chelizi goes down, and it's an ace for the Demon Dogs. And how do they keep on doing this?
We see TT use a bunch of crucial abilities to burst out LvMao. And then when it comes to Loken, they have the right idea. They know, hey, we need to get on top of this Vayne. We need to burst him out. He is the major threat of this composition. They just don't have the abilities up anymore. They don't have the cooldowns up on rotation to burst him out instantly. He also does have a bunch of sustain already. He did buy that Immortal Shield Bow, and he survives just long enough to where JDG are able to clean up the fight around him. And we're going to go right into the replay here. Again, they get right on top of LvMao early on. We see the Renekton ult pop. We saw Sejuani ultimate pop. Twyla already having to back out of the fight. Zoom goes in, E on top of the dash from his mythic item. Really nice ultimate. We also see good spacing coming out, I think, from the rest of the members of JDG. Everyone funnels onto Loken, but he's able to buy time. The burst isn't there anymore because Sam D is also down. And Twyla was honestly the member not really getting ahead on the side of TT. So he doesn't really actually provide that much burst, and he got chunked out pretty early on into that fight.
I can't believe it's come to this. You know, Lyric, there are 3 things that are certain in life. Death, taxes, and TT throwing the lead. And the third one is coming true right here as JDG win yet another fight. The gold is now slightly in favor of JDG. For the first time this game, JDG are ahead ever since that first 2 kills that TT got in the very early stages of the laning phase. And just look at the kill count. We're 23 minutes in. We've had 38 games. This is exactly what I wanted out of this series.
Let's remember that we can also just see TT pivot how they're playing the game. They have the ability to 1-3-1. They have stronger side lanes. And I guess the problem at this point is that Zoom has gotten so far accelerated as Kanavi, I think, is just going to say hello.
Kanavi's like, hey, bet you won't ult, dare you? And Twyla's like, oh, you think I won't ult? I'll ult. Dude, I ult all the time. Just pops it. And Kanavi's like, psych, see ya.
Yeah, he does. And, oh, we actually are going to get another fight here, Munchables.
Oh, here we go. It's already chaos because everybody's so split around the fight. LvMao the target once more, but he survives at least for a little bit. Teeen going to zip over to the other side of the fight, and TT finally finding themselves back on top. Chelizi will be a consolation prize for JDG, but they managed to get 2 now. 3v3. Loken still surviving. He's the guy to keep your eyes on. Xiaopeng the target here, and the rest of TT have dipped. They've got no damage left in the tank. As another kill goes to JDG, and they put their eyes on the big old purple worm.
You know, Munchables, do you remember in Game 1 when we were talking about, oh, TT doing a great job of controlling side waves, they're catching all the gold on the map, they're stealing jungle camps, so they're doing such a good job. They didn't do that this game. They continuously sent 4 and 5 members into JDG's comp to find their advantage, but that has turned into Zoom being a full item up on Chelizi, and also Yagao being more than a full item up on Twyla. So that's why we're seeing TT continuously go into these team fights, because for the fact that they've funneled gold into getting their bot lane ahead, they've set their 2 side laners behind, and it's turned into this to where, sure, they can get a few kills in these skirmishes. They still have a lot of bursts coming out, but they aren't able to kill the key members of JDG, and JDG will always win in the extended fight if that Vayne goes untouched. They immediately get the pick onto Yagao, but he's not an important member. Kanavi forced to flash as well. Chelizi taken out on the opposite side. He was by himself, and now it's very easy for JDG to turn. We see a nice ultimate coming out from Zoom to catch out Xiaopeng, and then Loken left to unload all of that free damage.
And Loken's back in the game, my friends. He's almost at 3 items. He's got the Rage Knife, the Rage Blade for Kids, Teeen. And, you know, he's still behind Samdi. Samdi already on those 3 items. But with the Phantom Dancer, with the Shield Bow, this Vayne is no longer the kind of weak early game Vayne that you think of. He is firing on all cylinders, especially
Munchables,
when the final hour comes into play.
Twyla just finished his 2nd item, just now.
Congratulations, Twyla. I'm so happy for him. This is a big moment for him. Here we go. Zoom turning into Mega Null, but he's down too early. The scat of the week on the entire team is not really going to be enough, as there's no real follow-up. Blade, Featherstorm, sorry, comes out from Sandy to keep him alive. Loken chase down. The lifesteal is there, but he's taken down eventually. TT finally find themselves the fight they were looking for. That's 3 kills, as they could move towards the bottom lane, maybe move towards mid. I don't have a whole lot to work with, but Drake is up in 30 seconds.
And the thing is, JDG weren't able to have the same formation they've had in a lot of these fights, right? Where it's about everyone protecting Loken. They were separated. Some members were on the opposite side of the wall in mid lane. Some members were in the jungle. TT are finally able to find those picks. It will secure them the Cloud Soul in my mind. The problem for TT is that soul doesn't really equal out into a free win. You're still going to have to put in the work. You're still going to have to execute properly. And it feels like Chelizi especially is still going to have to get a lot of gold onto himself and get back into this game.
Yeah, Cloud Soul not really going to tick the boxes that some of the other souls do. So TT rolling low on the dice, unfortunately, on this one. Let's take another look at what on earth happened here, because it felt a little bit like JDG just did not need to do this.
I felt like the hop from Zoom was a bit unfortunate because he puts himself solely in the middle of 5 members of TT. Now, look, this is what I'm talking about. The fight is separated. Kanavi and LvMao on one side, while Yagao and Loken are on the opposite side. So they have no one who's able to peel and stand in front of their 2 big carries. And yeah, it felt like a lot of that was propagated by Zoom. I don't know why Zoom hopped into TT's bottom side jungle instead of jumping back to the safety of his team in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's, you know, not an ideal fight for Zoom, and he has been one of the standout players this game, so we'll forgive him. One mistake, you're okay. If he does it again, he'll get a slap on the wrist and a little talking to from the coach, I'm sure. Tower's going to go down on the top side, though. TT continue to start to take some of this standing gold on the map. Twyla going to stick around there. The Xiaopeng has to move back to the mid lane because JDG are like, all right, you want to play 1-3-1? You want to go to those side lanes? We'll just run it down mid. See what you've got to try and defend. They do have a Xayah, though, so it's pretty easy to clear those waves.
Yeah, I think Xiaopeng is trying to bluff JDG a little bit because Chelizi isn't showing on the map, so they actually don't know how close he is to the mid lane. Of course, Twyla is still showing. Both do have TP, so they can be there in an instant. The problem is, you know, certain members of TT can be bursted out in an instant. We can see Twyla or Teeen just completely taken out by the amount of damage JDG have at this point. So I feel like TT need to be a bit more respectful of kind of how they're posturing for these fights.
Yeah, I feel like we're probably going to see the pace of the game kind of stall out for a minute here because Baron's not up for 2 minutes and then Elder Drake is up in 4. You can't really afford to lose control of the game when Elder Drake's coming up in 4 minutes. That could be the catalyst that really makes this game explode.
Yeah, and both teams have reasons to stall out and slow down, right? For JDG, you always have the reason of just saying, hey, we're fine until objectives are up. Let's just keep putting gold onto Loken. And for TT, at this point, you have to accept that Twyla's pretty much out of the game. He's pretty much just a warm body that will separate, will like get on top of JDG and kind of be a barrier for SamD to unload damage. He won't really do much more than that. But you still have a reason to get more gold onto Chelizi so he can actually match Gnar in the side lane because of how far Zoom got ahead and he fell behind, he hasn't been able to do that yet.
I will just say, Crocodile's a cold-blooded, so he's not going to be a warm body. He'll be a cold body. Just to make sure that this cast is scientifically accurate.
Thank you, Munchables.
I'm going to get a bunch of tweets at me telling me now that crocodiles are probably probably warm-blooded or something, but I'm pretty sure they're cold-blooded. They've got scales. I think that's how that works. They sit in the sun sometimes.
I wonder if are crocodiles and alligators cold-blooded? Would there be a difference?
That's a question for the Reddit analysts. That one's beyond my expertise. Oh, do you know who we need? We need Hysterics on the cast for that one. He's Australian. They all know everything about animals. I think they are Steve Irwin, aren't they? Like, is that how that works?
You know, it's funny because, you know, coming from America, I feel like Americans claim Steve Irwin. And I talked to Jake about that. He's like, no. That's not how that works.
I have to say, I feel like Steve Irwin is not even the guy we should be talking about. It's Crocodile Dundee. He's the real Australian when it comes to
engage
crocodiles.
though, Munchables.
Here we go. Xiaopeng trying to run away. Kanavi just going to continue the wet noodle fight between the junglers here, but it's the mid lane tower that JDG have their eyes on. Chelizi still off in the bottom side, has the TP looking for a flank, but he could just try and finish off that tier 2 in the bottom side. Can take it very, very quickly. He's got the Triforce, the GA, the Ravenous Hydra. He has more than enough damage, but JDG call the bluff. They say, all right, you want to stick to that tower? We're just going to grab Baron. They've got a Vayne to burst through this one. Tier 2 will go down, and immediately the TP being channeled, but JDG, they just wanted the fight after all. Here we go. The Magnet Storm onto everyone, but the damage isn't quite there. Yagao getting stunned up in the backline. Loken is alone. There's nobody to protect him. He's in the middle of 5 members, but he's trying to go for the 2v1 as Kanavi's chased out the bottom side of the fight. Loken taken down, and TT get themselves a clean fight. It's going to be 5-0 unless Kanavi survives it. Continues the 1v1 with Teen, but it doesn't matter because TT are into the base.
Yeah, Munchables, TT are going to show what we said before the series, that TT can take games off anyone. Things not looking so good for JDG. We wanted a clean series, but we are going to 3 games.
You better believe we are. TT, they managed to fulfill all of the prophecies. They threw the game, and then they still managed to get the win. They ticked every single box as they close out game 2 against JDG. We're going to 3 games in this absolute fiesta.
Beautiful to see from the side of TT. I really like their draft this time around. That was one thing that I really was all about. Again, seeing the throwback of Sejuani with 2 melee solo laners. We saw Sam D and Teen exceptionally in the early laning phase. We didn't expect 2v2 kills to come out. And Sam D and Teen have been, I'd say, pretty good in lane. We've seen them get 2v2 kills before. But still, when you do have such an experienced and I'd say well-synergized bot lane like Loken and LvMao, it's not something you really think you'd see. But TT finding the advantages early. They almost throw it back. You know, we saw Zoom getting ahead. We saw Twyla and Chelizi falling behind a little bit. But at the end of the day, they found the critical engages. And 2 times in a row, Loken is left without any peel for, you know, the opposite team to get on top of him.
Yeah, I mean, that last fight especially, it was like literally both solo laners versus Loken. Like, what are you going to do, Loken? The rest of JDG was off fighting on the other side. He didn't have any of that front line to hide behind. So really, really rough situation for Loken there. And TT, I don't know, man. I feel like this was a case of them just getting a bit giddy. Like, they had such a huge lead in the early game. They played so well in the early game. And then it was like, I feel like they just thought they were so far ahead, which they were, and tried to take off too much. They tried to just snowball it out of control and got punished by JDG. But I'm glad that they were able to regroup and kind of reset mentally and then go into these fights with the correct idea.
Again, it felt so strange to say that TT were living rent-free in JDG's head after that first game.
I know. Look at the gold graph again. This is just... This series really is something. And, you know, TT, only a 5k gold lead right at the very end of the game. That's less of a gold lead than I really felt like. I mean, I guess 4k at 15 minutes is a very, very big gold lead. But I guess in my memory, it felt like more than just 4k. But Sam D especially, sweeping up a lot of the gold. Chelizi proving me wrong. Maybe Omnistone is the way forward. He certainly was topping the damage.
It's also surprising to see him do so much damage when, again, in the first few levels of his lane, he was doing quite well. But after his first TP down towards the mid lane, Zoom got a lot of control in that lane. We didn't see him trading too much with Zoom. And it felt like in a lot of these team fights that, again, he wasn't able to do much, but clearly the damage showing otherwise. And then for the side of JDG, Zoom being the one to pull out a lot of work when, honestly, Gnar in this composition, I don't think you should be topping the damage graph.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll just leave it at that. We're going to go into a quick break, and then we're going to come back back for game number 3 between TT and JDG. Who would have known that this could have been one of the biggest barn burners of the split? We'll be back after this.